Coming up today, we'll go for rides in several cars that we put in the fun category. And that means they're also very fast. All that and more coming up next on World of Collector Cars. World of Collector Cars is brought to you by
Kimberly-Clark, makers of a family of car cover fabrics. Whether your pride and joy is stored indoors or out, protection is available for your investment with a cover made from Evolution 4 or NOAA car cover fabrics. Kimberly-Clark non-woven fabrics. Rare Parts of Stockton, California. Rare Parts supplies suspension parts for all vehicles from 1930 to current year models, specializing in collector car suspension and small run manufacturing. Rare Parts available through jobbers and repair and restoration shops across the country.
The World of Collector Cars is funded in part by Steel Rubber Products. Steel Rubber Products, manufacturing weather stripping and molded rubber parts for Chrysler Corporation, Packard, Independence, and General Motors Cars and Trucks. Steel Rubber Products, making parts for fellow hobbyists for nearly 30 years.
Bob Lee and his family enjoy their car collection. And, well, let's face it, when you have a collection with these types of cars, it's easy to have fun. From street rods to raw muscle, you're going to love today's show. Bob, this gorgeous little 32 here, how long have you had this?
I've had it about 4 years now.
4 years. And was it in this kind of shape?
It was a very nice car. It was built actually for the Oakland Roadster Show, specifically for the Oakland Roadster Show about 1983. And it was in a couple shows and then just sat for a number of years. It was a very low-mile car. It was brown with black fenders and had kind of a tan leather interior. It was built in, I think, Sacramento area, somewhere around there.
So you changed the color on it yourself?
We, a good friend of mine, Ken Lemos, who lives in Live Oak and does a lot of my work, decided that we probably ought to just pull it completely apart, and we did it. We took it clear off the frame and every nut and bolt and repainted the car because the frame was brown, and, you know, part of the frame shows on these cars. So took it all apart, stripped it, and rebuilt the car completely. New motor, new transmission. And,
maybe we can kind of walk around the car here and you can point out some of the features on it. Maybe let's start up front here, maybe.
Okay, well, it's we've done a little trick with the headlight bar in that we removed it. And, you know, traditionally the 32 Ford has a headlight bar, and we mounted them on the fenders just to give it a little bit of its own identity. I say that actually it's kind of struggling for identity because you don't know if it's a resto rod or just what it is. It doesn't have a lot of billet on it, so it's not a high-tech car. It's a Westcott-bodied car with a root lip hood, and it's all glass car with metal hood on it. We use the steel wheels with the hubcap and the beauty ring. I like that look. And this car was redone. It'll be actually 2 years ago. I'm sorry. 3 years ago, this August, we drove it to the Nationals in Louisville, Kentucky. My wife and I took it to the Nationals with our motorhome, and my son took his Willys, and we all went to the Nationals in it. And we just finished it 1 week prior to that, and along with Ken Lemos and his wife, and we just made a tour, took a 3-week tour out there, and the car ran like a watch.
It's a total round trip of, what, about 3,000 miles?
No, round trip almost 5,000, about 4,500, yeah. Considering the little side trips that we took and everything, we put about almost 5,000 miles on the speedometer.
Oh, that's great. What about interior and maybe the top there?
Yeah, I should have taken the top is a Hartz cloth top, Mercedes Hartz Mercedes cloth top. The interior was done by Jim Waugh of Oroville, and he does just magnificent work, as you can see here. And I don't know if you want to get around and look through there or not. He also built the top, and the top is the interior is kind of a tweed fabric, very comfortable. The car has cruise control on it, so it's, you know, really very easy to drive. Just hit the cruise and head down the highway. It has a 350 Chevy in it and a turbo 400 tranny. Chrome undercarriage, a lot of chrome. Of course, that was the chrome that was there when it was built as a show car. The chrome was in excellent shape, so I just left it that way. And, very, very usable car. Just a delight to drive. It rides good. You know, it runs very well, and it's the kind of street rod, you know, you like to have. It's just very dependable. I've taken it on numerous trips since then.
Looks like it's a nice wood wheel there.
Yeah, it's a Grant wheel, and you know, it's a smaller wheel because it's nice to have a small wheel in a small car, you know, for room. And
Good sound system.
Actually, I'm not big on sound systems. Most people love them. I don't really care. I don't play it much, but it does have a stereo and a cassette. But yeah, other than that, it doesn't matter much to me.
Hear the car.
Yeah, I want to hear the exhaust.
Now about that top, how long does it just pop down there? It's pretty easy.
Yeah, it just folds down. It's a fold-down top, very usable. You're going down the highway, you hit rain, you just put the top up. And, a lot of these cars had lift-top tops. I mean, the street rods have lift-top tops. And I wanted a top that I could keep with me all the time.
Now back here in the back, it looks like possibly a rumble seat.
Yeah, it's a rumble seat. And many of these came with trunks, and many of them with rumble seats. I happen to have the rumble seat car. And just pop it open there. And, very usable. A lot of room in there. A little difficult to get into because I don't want people stepping on the fenders, so I have them come over the top in the front seat. But we use it quite a bit. It's fun when you take a couple and you can just put them in the back and let the wind blow in their face.
Aftermarket tank, or is it?
Yeah, it's an aftermarket tank, and it's a 16-gallon tank. And the car gets probably 15 to 18 miles a gallon. You can get down the highway, 150 miles before you feel comfortable about wanting to get some more gas,
Right. Ready for a rest by then anyway, probably.
Rest by then anyway, that's right.
All right. Can we take a look at that under the hood?
Sure. You bet.
Is this a standard, pretty much 350, or
It's much stock 350. It does have a cam in it, so it gives a little rumpity rump in it, But other than that, it's pretty stock. It's got a quadrijet carburetor on it with a four barrel, and again, very serviceable. It's got plenty of power for this car. I like to have cars that have a little performance, but it takes very little motor to make these things go down the road, and so it works very well.
This car doesn't weigh that much, does it?
No, it doesn't. No.
Bob, looks like you may be adding and subtracting from your collection all the time. Is there any chance you might get rid of this one?
Probably not. There's very few cars that I would part with that I own. I actually don't subtract from it very often. I'm always looking to buy something else. Room is an issue, And when I build my new shop here, I'll have some more storage room. But there's really not much that I own that I would sell.
I don't blame you. From what I've seen, there's not one I would get rid of.
I like all cars. I don't care if they're Hutmobiles or Hudson Terraplanes or what they are. I like cars. I like to look at a car. And so I don't have a specific interest in one car. I just like them all.
Well, Bob, most Hemis in my book come under the rare category, but you were telling me that this one is even rarer than usual, I guess.
Yes, Dale. It's one of 28 built with a 4-speed in 1967, and that's of all Dodge and Plymouth Hemis built. It's one of 28 built with 4-speed. It also goes beyond that in that it's one of 10 with bumper guards, rear bumper guards on it.
Really?
Chrysler Corporation had this need, or feel that they had this need to keep numbers on everything. And they numbered every little part, and they kept track of all of them. And there were only 10 of them built with rear bumper guards.
Wow. So. Now, on this one, you were telling me that you just purchased it not too long ago, right?
Yeah, I bought this car out of the Bay Area, and from an owner over there, and he had done most of the restoration. There were a few things that I did. I did front seats and a few things, and a little paint work on it, because the restoration was, to the best of my knowledge, about 3 or 4 years old. And so there were a few things that needed to be freshened up on it, and I did that. The motor is fresh, and it's just a delightful car to drive. It's so much fun. For those who haven't driven a Hemi, I mean, it's the ultimate in muscle cars.
And it's an original matching numbers car, right?
Original matching numbers car, correct, yes.
And that's something that folks do have to be careful about if they're going to purchase a car like this.
Most definitely. There are a lot of clones out there, the opportunity. In fact, there are companies that make them. There's a company in Southern California that builds clone Hemis. And, you know, they advertise it that way, and for somebody who wants a Hemi and can't find an original numbered Hemi, then it's the opportunity to have one.
Sure.
And there's, you know, I have nothing against that. I think, you know, a Hemi is a Hemi regardless of what it's in, and it's just as long as you've got that performance.
Let's take a look at that. We'll start with the interior on this one. We'll wait till the last here and get to the good stuff. The real good stuff, I should say.
You know, your basic RT interior, black vinyl console tack, 4-speed. And the only aftermarket piece in there is the oil pressure gauge. And of course, from the factory, they put, you know, kind of a semi-oil pressure gauge, I wish you should call it, but it certainly wasn't reliable as far as I'm concerned. But it had that in there, and it's really a comfort to be able to look at a true, you know, Stuart Warner oil pressure gauge and see that you've got oil pressure rather than depending on what the factory gave you.
Right.
But it's pretty fresh. I you know, ordered the front seat replacement kit from Year One, and they've got an excellent line of replacement equipment for all kinds of cars. And I was very satisfied with the quality when I got it. It's got the police rally wheels on it, actually a police wheel. They were, as you can see, had the slots in them for brake cooling, and they did not come on the car. It came with a Magnum wheel, the factory mag, as it was called, with a 14-inch wheel, and I wanted a little bit bigger tire and wheel on it, so I went to the 15-inch police wheel. And I know purists would say, why would you ever do that? But again, it's, you know, I have it the way I want it, not the way, you know, it's supposed to be. And other than that, I mean, everything is all original on the car. The little hubcap is not a matching year hubcap, and I think that Plymouth or Dodge made those for a number of years. But I just like the looks of that wheel, the painted wheel with the car. And I kept the Magnum wheels, and they're not for sale.
Do you know anything about the history of the car?
You know, I don't. I know that the car spent some time in Alaska. I've been all through the car, had it up on a rack and looked through it, and it was pretty much rust-free. I mean, when I say pretty much, there wasn't any rust that I could find or had been in the car, and that's the thing that I was concerned about more than anything. But no, I can't tell you much about the history. There's a gentleman that does a by the numbers article in Mopar Muscle magazine, and he is a person that could certainly tell me all the history on the car. And I've sent him some information on it, and he sent me some information back, and I need to do some more follow-up. But he is a guy that can tell you anything about any Plymouth or Chrysler product that you want to know. And
Probably one of those little old lady cars.
I doubt that.
Now, before you open that hood, Bob, I noticed the louvers on this hood are non-functional. Is that pretty much standard on the Dodge and the Plymouth Chrysler cars?
It was on the RT. That was, you know, just kind of an accessory item that was on the hood. The Chrysler product had numerous kinds of hood scoops. They had the Shaker hood scoop and the Cudas and the Challengers, and they had functional hood air grabber scoops on the Roadrunners, and, you know, so they've had all kinds of scoops. It just so happens that this is one of them that's not functional. It's just for looks. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get to the heart of this thing.
Okay. They refer to as an elephant motor.
They're always gorgeous to look at.
Yes, they are, aren't they? They're just so unique, and just, you know, certainly makes your blood boil and the hair stand up on the back of your neck, you know.
Now, what's the horsepower rating on this?
425 horse, but that's very conservative. You've probably heard that, you know, they certainly underrated them for insurance purposes, and I've seen all kinds of numbers, anywhere from 450 to 550 horse. I don't know what the real number is, but it's certainly very powerful.
Anything underneath there that you've added to it to make it a little bit more domesticated?
No, nothing that I have changed on it. It's pretty much the way it was from the factory, except for the ignition, and it's got a late model ignition in it. But other than that, everything is stock and original.
On most of the Chrysler performance cars, were they pretty much the same in as much as they didn't have any power options? Was that because they didn't want to suck anything away from the engine?
Well, a lot of it had to do with that. I think when they got the stripped down models, I mean, people didn't want power brakes or power steering or any of those things. It was an available option on some of the cars, with the power steering and the power brakes. It just so happens that this car does not have that.
What's the farthest that you've taken this car?
I've driven to the Bay Area a few times, and that's pretty much. I was at the Good Guys meet in November in Pleasanton, the Autumn Nationals. That's a fun show because you get all kinds of cars there, and actually it won the Best Mopar award there. Yeah, we're very, very pleased with that, and a lot of very nice cars there, very nice Mopars.
Speaking of the wheels earlier, did they originally come with a red line tire or a blue line or something like that?
You know, it's my understanding that back in 65, 6, and 7, and maybe some other years, they did have the red line tire on them, and I've seen them. You can get those tires, but I chose not to do that. They're a bias ply tire. I wanted a radial tire on this, and so that's why I put that on. I mean, if I were a purist and I wanted the car, perfectly original, then I would have a red line tire on it with a Magnum wheel.
Like for concours?
Yeah, strictly, and I'm not interested in that. So.
Better to be safe then.
Yeah, most definitely.
Original.
And these things are a challenge to drive anyway, without the power steering and the brakes and the weight and everything. And so I just didn't want the bias ply tire.
Well, Bob, I can tell by the way you're talking about this car, you're never going to get rid of this, are you?
Well, never's a long time, but I certainly can't see in my mind now that I would part with the car. Yeah, it's a car that I've wanted for a long time, and I've had one and sold it, and now I think I'll keep this one.
And your son Josh, and I would imagine he's probably got dibs on this, right?
Yeah, well, I have another son in Florida that thinks the very same way that Josh does. So I'm sure that one of them will wind up, and one of them will wind up with the Maxwell Edge.
This next car is sort of stock, but has been modified to supply some more creature comforts.
It's pretty much original. It's I've tried to keep the same looks, but I've made it a little bit of a 50s custom look. I drove the car actually pretty much all original with wire wheels on it, and everything original on it. And then this fall, just recently, I put the louvered hood on it and lowered it and put the different wheels on it. And
This is a 53 Buick.
53 Buick Special, yes.
Well, since we're up here in front, let's start out with the front. Obviously, there's no chrome Buick there anymore.
Yeah, I repainted this upper grill bar, and just again trying to achieve something that was a little bit different. I louvered the hood and I filled the nose and took off the emblems off of this, and just for a little cleaner look.
Yeah. On the front. Yeah, it looks really nice. Has the car been lowered at all?
Yeah, I lowered it about 2 inches, and it actually has improved the ride. Now, this car originally had a straight 8 in it, and it was an extremely heavy motor with the old cast iron block and cast iron transmission. It now has a 350 Chevy in it with a turbo 400 all aluminum, so it's much lighter. And when I put that in, actually the car stayed up in the air, and so I brought it down to the original stance, and then I've lowered it 2 inches since then. So it's about 2 inches lower than what the original height was.
The tires, the wheels rather, I do like what you've done with those. With it's kind of got the resto look. Where did you get the hubcaps, and what kind of wheels are those?
They're I think they came from Wheel Teak or some such place out of Fresno, Vintique Wheel or something like that. And the hubcaps are actually a 49 or a 50 Mercury hubcap. I'm not sure what year it is. Yeah, it's pretty much the same look as the original Buick hubcap that was on here, except it doesn't say Buick in it. And that's what I was trying to achieve.
And the tire's probably a little bit larger, right?
Yes, right. A little bigger tire on it. And the car was painted by Ken Sumwalt at Excel Auto Body in Orville, and he does most of my paint work and does absolutely beautiful work as far as I'm concerned. And he's painted it, and I'm real pleased with the way the car came out. And it's a very, very nice, usable, user-friendly car.
Can we look at the interior here? Sure. Definitely gone over inside here. Tell us about some of the changes in there.
Well, I wanted, again, the 50s look, custom look, so I did the tuck and roll. I wanted to keep the dash as original as I could. I love the gauges in there, but I didn't wire them to work, and so I actually mounted all the gauges in the glove box, and I can show you that in just a moment if you'd like to see. Put an aftermarket-looking carpet in it. I wanted to kind of keep, with the original tweed, but something that was, a little upgraded, and so I put kind of a tweed carpet, and, the red and gray. Definitely didn't want white. White kind of flashes at you, and so I wanted the gray look, and so that's why I did that.
Well, you were telling me that you and your wife, both use this car quite a bit, right?
Yeah, we drive this car quite a bit. We enjoy this car. In fact, this winter I'm putting air in it. It'll be the one car that I have that has air conditioning, and we really enjoy it. It's very, very easy to drive, and put the top up and down quickly on it, and really enjoy it. There you can see the gauges in the glove box door, and it's a little inconvenient, but I get a true read that way, and actually I have more faith in those than I do the original gauges anyway. But yet they're out of sight, and they don't hurt or take away from the looks of the original dash. This car and many cars like this, Oldsmobiles, Buicks, Pontiacs, were kind of an Art Deco look, in that dashboard. I mean, is an example of that with the chrome and the paint, and that's what I like about it.
Don't want to destroy that.
No, sure.
Does the radio work in it?
No, the radio doesn't work right now. I just haven't got that far. I told you earlier that I'm not a big tune guy, and I will, however, get that in and running here pretty soon so that we can have the feature, at least know what the weather's going to be. Right. That's the important thing.
Now, I know you've changed the engine. You were talking about, how about the tranny?
Yes, it has a Turbo 400 in it. Mm-hmm. Has an 8-inch Ford rear end in it, and all very serviceable. I wanted a car that I could go down the road, and if you blow a water pump, you can go into your Napa store and buy a water pump for it, rather than put one on order, a back order for 2 weeks or something. And so I like to be able to drive them.
Well, if we can get you to pop that hood, we'll take a look at that. All right. It's it says Buick V8. It looks like they're Fireball.
Yeah, as I said, the specials in '53 came with the straight 8, and actually the Supers had or Roadmasters, I guess they were, had the V8, the first year of the V8, and so when I rebuilt this car, I didn't want the straight 8, and I wanted again the serviceable V8, so I put it in there. I painted it Buick green. I put the Fireball V8 valve covers on it, and the replica fiberglass air cleaner on there to keep it as much looking like original as I could.
Yeah, it looks real nice and very functional. A lot of room in there to work on the engine, too.
A lot of room. Yeah, I could have put 2 of those in there, certainly. Ken Lemos and Live Oak did all the wiring for me, and just had a lot of friends do work because I'm not as handy as most of my friends are, and mostly I stay out of the way. That's what I do best.
Any chance you're going to be getting rid of this car in the future?
I don't see it happening. No, you just never know. Somebody will come along and make me a ridiculous offer, and I'd probably be a fool to turn it down. So maybe, but right now I think I'll probably keep it.
It's a gorgeous car.
Oh, thank you.
Anything on the car that you might be looking for?
No, I think I have everything, and I have availability of anything that I don't have, like this little badge down in the bottom. I know where I can get that. I just haven't yet. Pretty pricey, actually.
Yeah.
But there's nothing that I need. This car is pretty much completed. As I said, when we get the air conditioning in it this winter, then it will be complete. But it's, as I said, a very nice car to drive, a fun car to drive, and really, really very nice with the top down.
World of Collector Cars is brought to you by
Kimberly-Clark, makers of a family of car cover fabrics. Whether your pride and joy is stored indoors or out, protection is available for your investment with a cover made from Evolution 4 or NOAA car cover fabrics. Kimberly-Clark non-woven fabrics. Rare Parts of Stockton, California. Rare Parts supplies suspension parts for all vehicles from 1930 to current year models, specializing in collector car suspension and small run manufacturing. Rare Parts available through jobbers and repair and restoration shops across the country.
The World of Collector Cars is funded in part by Steel Rubber Products. Steel Rubber Products, manufacturing weather stripping and molded rubber parts for Chrysler Corporation, Packard, Independence, and General Motors Cars and Trucks. Steel Rubber Products, making parts for fellow hobbyists for nearly 30 years.
Gotcha.